Hi, I'm Penguin402, aka Taylor, and today I'm going to be talking about video TV shows slash movies that were based off of video games. That video games were based off of. That's what I mean. And I apologize for Wednesday for my streaming really short and kind of seemed like I was rushing. Not lying, my laptop was dying, and I don't know why, but my laptop is just not want to charge. Doesn't want to hold a charge, so I might have to get a new laptop pretty soon. But we'll see. So without further ado, I'd like to begin. Starting off with the video game that I played a lot as a kid because my grandparents had it. My grandma, my mom, stepdad had it. They had a Super Nintendo and they had Goof Troop. Goof Troop was based off of, I think, the TV show of the same name. And in this game, it was like an action adventure puzzle game, and you played as either Goofy or Max, and you could do either solo or co op. Co op was a lot more fun, and the thing about the game was that, Goofy, he was much slower than Max, his son Max, but but he could take more damage. But Max was a lot faster, but he couldn't take as much damage. But the only issue that I had with the game was that you couldn't actually use your fists of fury. You couldn't beat up your enemies with your fists or anything. You couldn't hit them or kick them or anything like that. You had to use your surroundings to defeat the your enemies. So there was these cement blocks or whatnot that you could either punch or kick at your opponents, or you would grab items, pick up items, and one of them was a grappling hook, and you could throw it and and grab your opponent that way and knock them off the level or whatnot. And what was so cool about this game was that unlike Battletoads where you could kill your opponent, not your opponent, you could kill your partner that you're playing with. This game you couldn't do it. It was like Contra where you could shoot all you want and not hit your partner. So that was really cool. And the other cool thing about it was that if you were playing as Goofy and your friend or your sister or your brother was playing as Max, if you if Max died, and then Max could come back into the game if you made it to the next screen. If you made it to the next screen, if you survived that and made it to the next screen, Max would come back in, which I thought was really cool. But also, the other thing about the game, like it wasn't very long. There weren't very many levels. I think there were only 5 levels, but you really had to think and use your brain on how to solve each puzzle and each level and stuff, and it was really fun. And you could also pick up the plants in the game, pick them up and throw them at your opponents, and I thought that was really cool. It was similar. Think of Bomberman. It was kind of like Bomberman in a way, because Bomberman you can hit and kick the bombs and pick up bombs and throw them, and that's similar to what you do here in Goof Troop. And it was an awesome game. Highly recommend if you have a Super Nintendo, play the game. Go and find the game, play it. It's awesome. Next game on my list is actually 2 games. And I actually had both games. One was my sister's, and the other one was mine. And it was Rugrats the movie, which was my sister's, and Rugrats Time Traveller's, which was mine. So I used to play both of them because I had a Game Boy Color, and if you had a Game Boy Color at the time, you could play Game Boy games on your Game Boy Color. And I remember Rugrats the movie very vividly because you played as Tommy, and you went all throughout the house and into the backyard, and that was each level. So the first level was in the basement, and you had to your goal was easy. All you had to do was just walk from one end of the basement all the way to the other end and not get killed, not get hurt or anything, and that was your goal. But as you went on to the next level, you had to collect different items, different baby related items, different gold colored toys, rattles, that kind of thing, baby bottles, and you had to also dodge dodge stuff as well, and it was a platformer, and I loved it. But then once you got to the level, which is third level, which is when you were outside, that's where it got harder because you could go back, but it was hard to go back and try to jump over back over that fizz. But it was really fun, and I never beat it because I could never get past that third level. But I loved it. The next one is Rugrats Time Travelers. This game was my game. My game. I played it a lot on the Game Boy Color. I'm a big Rugrats fan. Rugrats is my favorite cartoon of all time. And this game in particular, I remember you started out as Chucky and you went through this toy store, and then you had to jump up and get this bell at the end of the toy store at the end, and then you went back to like the middle where this like robot thing was, and you jumped up. Once you grabbed that bell, you jumped up, and you went to this like mine shaft, and like you had to collect these lanterns, and once you collected like almost all the lanterns, then you went down the like waterfall trough, and uh and you had to collect those lanterns, and once you collected them all all then you got to go to the next level, and you got to play as I think Phil and Lil. I don't remember because I never beat the game. I never got past the level with Chucky, but it was hilarious because Chucky, you could literally get into this mine shaft cart, like this mining cart, and like go down like these areas or whatnot, and all you see is just like Chucky in this cart screaming, and I'm like, that's me because I don't like roller coasters. I don't like things that get my stomach, so I thought it was hilarious. And then he even does that going down like this like water slide trough. He even does that, and I thought it was hilarious. Next one is actually two more games that are from like the same movie series or whatnot, and that is Star Wars Shadows of the Empire and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. So my grandparents had this one because they had an N64, and I remember playing Shadows of the Empire and thought it was awesome because you got to play as Anakin, and Anakin Skywalker before he became Darth Vader, and I thought it was amazing. You got to fly in the Millennium Falcon, which I thought was awesome. And the one thing I remember about the game more specifically was like you were flying in one of the ships or whatnot, piloting one of the ships. I don't remember which ship it was, but you had this like cord that was attached to your ship, and then you had to wrap it around the AT-AT, one of the AT-ATs, and then yeah, get around them, and then they fell, and then that's how you beat that part of the game. And I thought it was really cool. And my uncle, who's not that big of a gamer, I saw him playing it a few times, so he even liked the game. So if my uncle, who's not that big of a gamer, likes the game, you know it's a great game. And also, what I also remember was the cartridge. The cartridge had had a stormtrooper on it. Had a stormtrooper on the cartridge, and I thought that was so cool. And I love Star Wars, so yeah. And then Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I used to play this game all the time with my sister and one of our cousins. I have a cousin on my mom's side that we would come over quite a bit when we were growing up, and he liked Mario Kart 64, but he preferred Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And what I remember from this game, playing it with him and my sister, was me and my sister getting mad because he would always go with Anakin's pod, and we would get so mad at him, and we'd be like, why'd you choose that one? We wanted that one. And he would be like, because I'm old, because I picked first. I chose him first. Choose someone else, and we'd get mad at him for just choosing Anakin's pod because that's what we wanted. Because if you had Anakin's pod, you were guaranteed to win in our family. So, and I just remember playing that game so much, and I loved that game. And I loved like how you could get like the boost and like go really fast. The only issue I had with it was I didn't like it as much as Mario Kart 64 because Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario Kart had the power ups. I wish Star Wars Episode 1 Racer had those power ups. That would have been awesome. I don't know what they would have looked like or what they would have done, but I think it would have been awesome. Yeah. Someone needs to get on that, make make a game like that. But yeah, so my next game is actually one that I played quite a bit as a kid. It was Scooby Doo Classic Creep Capers, and it basically took like the show Scooby Doo Where Are You, and made it into like a video game, uh, and it was based off of that. And they had one for the N64, and they had one for the Game Boy Color, and I played it on the Game Boy Color. And like you played as like all the gang, all the Mystery Inc. game. You played as all of them, and you had to solve like the mystery of this ghost of Doctor Jekyll in this mansion. And I was reading because I couldn't remember what this game was about, and so I googled it. I looked it up, and I found out what it was about, and I was like, I have that. There's an episode of Scooby Doo Where Are You that's based on that the game is based on. And I have that episode, and it brought me back to that episode. But like you went through this mansion and you had to find this ghost and try to capture it, and it was just really fun. But the weird part about it was like to get into like each room or whatnot, there was like these two eyeballs that you had to press like A on just to get in into like each room, and I thought that was kind of weird, but I loved it. So yeah, and then finally, my last game that I have on my list is a game that uh the version I had was the only RPG. Google it, and you will find out that I'm right. And I'm talking about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I had this game for the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Color version was the only version that was an RPG. All the other ones, I think, were like action adventure. So if you go and look up this game on Google and look up the genre, it'll say action adventure. But if you look on like Wikipedia or somewhere, it'll say that the Game Boy Color version was the only RPG. It was the only one that was an RPG, and I had it, loved it. Never finished it though because once I unlocked like the Skull and Bones bowling mini game, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. But I didn't look up the ending and was disappointed by the ending. But like the game was so much fun. But I never read the books. You can hate me now. I just don't really like to read that much, and so. But I've seen all the movies, love them. Big Harry Potter fan, and I was like, I remember like at the beginning of the game, like Dobby shows up, which that happens in the movie. He shows up. Ron, Fred, and George rescue Harry from Privet Drive, from the house at Privet Drive. That happens in the movie. But I don't remember Harry ever going into the Weasley's house and stealing like these cards, taking these cards and going into each room and taking cards and that kind of stuff. I don't remember that happening in the movie. I don't remember Ron ever having to toss gnomes in the garden. I don't remember that ever happening. But all this happens in the game, but it was actually based off of the book. But I'm counting it because it's also based off the movie. Because some of the stuff that happens in the game happened in the movie. But there's dueling. You can duel in the game, which that happened in the movie. But the thing that doesn't happen in the movie is like the Skull and Bones bowling. Like that doesn't that he never goes bowling in the movie. And how you get there is like you go to this party or something, and I'm like, that never happened in the movie. So it was like, but I just loved the game so much. I wasted a lot of my batteries on my parents. Wasted a lot of my parents' money buying batteries, like having them buy batteries for it, just so I could keep on playing it. It was so much fun, and I absolutely love that game. It's one of my favorites for sure. It was one of my favorites growing up, and I spent so much time playing it. And yeah, so post in the comments below what's your favorite like video game. What's your favorite like video games based off of movies and TV shows, and don't put Pokemon because fun fact, the game came out before the TV show, even though in like America, North America, and the Western world, the I believe the TV show came first to America before the games did. I don't know, but I know that
game came out first and the TV show is based off of the games. So don't put Pokemon, but post in the comments below what's your favorite video games that were based off of movies and TV shows. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and hit that notification bell because next week I'm going to talk about the best movie soundtracks. I mean, not movie soundtracks, video game soundtracks. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. And on Monday, I'm considering redoing ABBA, the top 5 ABBA, or I might just continue the cover songs. I think I'm just going to continue the cover songs, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Bye!